to another episode of Beautiful Lives. Thank you so much for joining us today. I cannot believe the support that Beautiful Lives has been getting from every corner of the planet. Thank you for the emails, thank you for the comments, and thank you for your loyalty. Today, I am with a woman who is a dynamo, an inspiration, a mover and a shaker, who has actually transformed Canada a little bit and is leaving behind a legacy that is pretty much unprecedented. We are blessed today to be having the Honorable Jean Augustine join us, and Order of Canada winner, first Member of Parliament, female, Black in Canada, and let's hear the story. Welcome, and thank you so much for agreeing to be with me today.
Well, thank you for the warm introduction, Liz. I'm so very pleased to join you.
Thank you. Well, let's go right back to the beginning. You were not born in Canada, is that true?
No, I was not born in Canada. I was born in the most beautiful place in the world. It's Grenada, an island in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
And came to Canada in 1960. I love Grenada, I love Canada, and I think if we can put the two together, the warmth of Grenada at this time of the year.
Totally. I'm with you. Totally with you.
That would be almost heaven and earth.
Perfect. Well, you came in 1960.
Yes.
I understand it was some kind of domestic program. Tell me about this.
Yes, in 1960 I was out of high school looking for a place to go to university, writing letters here and there, you know, getting admission, and at the same time being told what the tuition fees and accommodation would be. And then I had this wonderful opportunity, which was offered by Canada, that if you were a young woman between the ages of 18 and 24 and you were unattached with no children and no husband, that you can come to Canada and work in the home of a Canadian family, because Canadian women at the time were returning into the work world. And you did this for 1 year, you will get landed immigrant status. Well, that was my opportunity, and that was the way in which I came to Canada. I worked for 1 year in the home of a Canadian family, wonderful, wonderful people. And at the end of the time, I had my landed immigrant status, and life begun for me.
So there you are, a young woman.
Yes.
First winters.
Yes.
All new. Different kind of politics, different kind of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so what did you do?
Well, I fell right into life in Canada. At the same time, there were very few people of color. The streets of Toronto did not look anything like they are today. Mm-hmm. And when you saw another black person, you immediately said, hello, my name is Jean. Here is my phone number.
Yeah.
And in those days, the phone number had letters in them. You remember
wow.
those? You may not remember those days.
When I was growing up, our phone number was 121W3. Anyway, go
exactly.
on.
And so you exchange phone numbers, and if they had a look that you like in terms of the hair was well done. You say, where did you get your hair done? You're trying to find the right hairdressers, or trying to find the places where you can get, you know, the goods and services that would accommodate skin color and would accommodate things that you were used to from the Caribbean.
Absolutely.
So it was different. It was different then.
People often talk about, why do all those people live together, those people? Well, if I know that for a fact that if I were to go live in another country and I was surrounded by a different language and all of a sudden heard anybody speaking English, I would have exactly the same friend.
Yes.
Trying to find maple syrup in anything traditionally Canadian, I would be so excited.
Well, this is a human thing.
Basic human.
I mean, I was traveling a few months ago and sitting on the bus, and you hear a Canadian accent or voice or whatever, and you turn around immediately and say, I'm from Canada too.
Yeah, it's a natural.
It's just a natural thing. At the same time, in this country, we have to ensure that as we do the welcoming, as people are joining us, that there are some things that's important for us to do. And I've been doing a number of speaking engagements around the country, and where I speak about how do we attract immigrants and newcomers to our neighborhoods. What kind of things do we have to do? And not only how do we attract them, but how do we integrate and include them in everything in the community so that they feel part of the community, and how do we get them to stay, the issue of retention in the communities. Because right now, communities, especially small communities, especially communities outside of urban areas, are realizing that they have to have newcomers, that they have to have people in the communities, young people, or their young people are leaving for the big cities, for the colleges that are not in the neighborhoods, and the population data, that the low birth rates and whatnot. So it's important for people to find themselves outside of Toronto. We also know the statistics that tell us that, what percentage of people just all come to the big city, all come to Toronto. And so, because the services are there, because, as you said earlier, the language, you can get a doctor in your language, you can get legal services in your language, you can get whatever community services in your language. This is all very good, and this is all commendable, but at the same time, other communities around the country, around the outside of the urban areas, need to realize that it's important to encourage people to move outside of the immediate urban area.
I have been so lucky. I've been doing corporate training for 22 years.
Yes.
And 20 years ago, when I would go to certain cities across Canada, everyone in the room looked like me.
Exactly.
Today, pretty much every city, the bigger cities,
Yes.
and not just Vancouver, Montreal, Toronto, like even the smaller cities. The colorful, the rainbow.
Yes, yes.
Canada is different. It's changing.
Yes, yes.
And that's the forever future.
Well, it is forever future, because our demographics and everything point in the direction of immigration as a way to continue the growth of our country. At the same time, the original sending countries, the Europeans that were coming to Canada, the early settlers that came as a result of wars in Europe or other conflict situations in different parts of Europe who came to Canada. Those are not the sending countries.
That's
now.
right.
The sending countries, the Caribbean, Latin America, Africa. So now the diverse people are coming from countries, India, Pakistan, China, are coming from countries where you can say they're people of color. And so we're becoming, the discussion that we had earlier when we talked about the nature of Canadian society, whether we were English and French, and the recognition that we are a multicultural, multi-ethnic, multi-religious society. I think that reality is before us. And when you live in a city like we do in Toronto, with over 200 different languages spoken and people coming from over 100 and something ethnic groups, we recognize that the nature of Canadian society, the decision that we made in 1971, that we were indeed a multicultural society, that reality is there.
It's absolutely true. You speak of, you know of what you speak, most
Yes.
definitely. You have, I believe, 4 honorary degrees, is that right?
Yes.
Tell me where.
Well, I was tremendously honored in 1994 to receive my first honorary degree from the University of Toronto. It was at the University of Toronto I got my BA, my Master's in Education, and so I was tremendously honored by the university in 1994. And I may forget dates now, but my second
It's the degree part that's cool.
my second honorary degree came from McGill University, and that was really a tremendous honor. McGill, as you know, is well recognized as University of Toronto worldwide, so I was tremendously honored by that, and that was followed by the University of Guelph. And that again was a great honor because it is, Guelph not only serves in a specific kind of regional, but there is some Guelph combined with Humber College have been doing tremendous work for community and is sometimes the first place that an immigrant young person would get an education. And last year, I think, I was honored with another Doctor of Laws by York University. And again, that is a tremendous university with groundbreaking, not only faculty talents and skills and whatnot, but at the same time there is some recognition that a number of the students, high percentage of students at York University, are the first in their family to go to university. And so I'm very, very honored, very pleased to speak about and to support the work that's going on in those universities, and to recognize too that they're doing what is important to do, and that is educating youth for the future of our country, and not only the future for our country but the future of the world. That's because true. I think you can find U of T graduates and McGill graduates and Guelph graduates and York University's graduates all over the world. If you travel, you meet people in different fields of endeavor, you'd find that they connect some of their experiences back to these Canadian universities.
And literally people from every corner come to go to McGill, come to go to U of T, York.
Precisely.
Fantastic. So there you were, this domestic, and today you are the Honorable Jean Augustine.
Yes.
Can we talk a little bit about your career and how it has evolved? Academically, you went, got your master's.
Well, I started in Grenada in what was called a pupil teacher system, where you got into the classroom and you had a teacher who looked at what you were doing and helped you through. And so when I came here, it was natural for me to find myself back in education. And so Toronto Teachers College and U of T, in those days you went to Teachers College, and then you went to university. And that was what I did. And so I came through the system working with the Catholic School Board as a classroom teacher, as a vice principal, as a principal, got my supervisory officer's papers. And one of the things that is important to say is that I grew up in a family where education was very, very important. My grandmother, who didn't have much schooling, knew that education was important. And so we heard as children, get all the pieces of paper, have a piece of paper.
Life-changing, life-changing, absolutely.
And so I got all the pieces of paper along the way. And so I was ready for opportunities when they came up, simply because I did the homework and I did what was important to move myself along the educational line. At the same time, I was always grounded in community. I grew up in a family that we always involved ourselves in the church, in the neighborhood, in whatever. So when I came here, it was a natural for me to begin to involve myself in community. And of course, as a black woman, I involved myself in black community efforts. So, you know, I joined the clubs, I formed associations, I joined associations. And it was that involvement with the community where that brought me some recognition. You know, the YWCA Women of Distinction was for community involvement. My work with the Congress of Black Women was noticed as I moved around the country on the weekends and on my own dollar some of the time.
Wow.
You know, organizing groups of women. And remember, the 60s, 70s, there were lots of issues to be addressed. We didn't have multiculturalism policy. We didn't have our Charter of Rights and Freedom. That didn't come until 1980 something. So we didn't have landlord and tenant. You know, all of these policies, or anti-racism, or you know, issues around women, and you know, those issues that our young people today and young women today take for granted, those were not there. It was kind of like an open
Open season.
open season in all of these issues. And so, you know, I moved around with individuals, Metro Action Committee on Violence Against Women and Children, the startup of things like LEAF, the startup of MedTrack, you know, all of these things on the ground, finding where other women were doing things and being involved and ensuring that, you know, we provide some input into what we consider to be policies that would assist people on the ground. And so it was through all of that engagement that got me noticed by those persons who were in positions of making decisions. And so I was asked to sit on different boards. I was on the board of the Hospital for Sick Children, and again I was asked. I was on the board of York University, and again I was asked. I was asked to sit on the board of Harborfront in the early days when they were starting discussions. So I got asked to be on different boards. Based on the fact that I was, you know, out there doing some things. I don't remember making any application for any of the boards on which I have had the honor and the privilege to sit. Individuals said, I think you were, we would like you to. And so I consider the work that was happening on the ground, the community involvement, the ability to write policies and to bring other people along, that assisted in you know, my move forward, so that when I was asked to sit on the board of Metro Toronto Housing, and later on I was asked to be the chair of Metro Toronto Housing, I had a very difficult time. Those again were part of the efforts, part of the commitment that individuals and organizations saw, and the fact that I was able to develop some leadership skills, to develop some interpersonal skills, and to be able to move some things forward. I think those are, you know, because no one would say we want you there if you were a conflict-oriented person.
Right.
I think it was the fact that I could be effective and I could do this in a manner that was where, you know, it's not that I don't like a good fight, because I can,
I have no doubt.
Right, I can get into, but at the same time, I think it's important if you're building and if you want to move forward, that you bring people along. There is an old Zambian proverb, and it goes like this: if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, take others with you. And so I have always, in whatever work I do and in wherever I am, I take others with me, because I want to go far, and I want the community to go far, and I want the issues to go far and reach where they should. So everything I've done has always been communal, have always been very much engagement of others in different endeavors.
So, Your Honor, as I look at you, I'm seeing two core values coming out very clear. One, education.
Yes.
Learn everything that you can.
Exactly.
Get the paper.
Yes.
Thank you, Grandma.
Yes.
Number two
Yes.
is the community. Be
Very
active in your community.
Very
And
much.
you chose the black, the female, and
Yes.
then
Yes.
ultimately that expanded.
Yes.
But those two pieces brought you to today. You are, you know, the commissioner
Yes.
of the
The Office
Fairness
of the Fairness Commission.
And the steps between coming as a domestic to today being a commissioner, if you haven't yet noticed, everyone, on the lapel of this fantastic woman, you will see a little emblem. Would you like to talk about what that stands
That is
for?
I'm a member of the Order of Canada, and that is the highest honor that one can get as a Canadian, and a recognition of a lifetime of work and engagement as a Canadian. So I'm very proud of this. And there's a special club that one belongs.
A very small, very select club.
And so I'm really, really very honored and proud of the fact that I received this. But it's, again, as you said, it's part of my work with the community. It's part of my engagement. It's part of what I engage in as a nation builder, as someone who is very proud of the fact that this is who we are as Canadians, and that we cannot just sit back and let others do it. I'm really saddened by the low turnout and low participation at the polling, at election time, because and again, I'm going to say one of the clubs have a saying that goes, if it's to be, it's up to me. One cannot sit back and say, well, I'm not going to go and vote. They're all whatever, and let other people go and let other people whatever. And I feel that if you're not engaged in that process, then it's very difficult one shouldn't complain.
That's true.
And one shouldn't have a comment to make because you have disengaged from the opportunity to participate in what is the life, the democratic life of your country. And so receiving the Order of Canada and having folks nominate me for the Order of Canada, I consider that an honor and a blessing. But I'll tell you one other small story.
You have very cool
The
stories.
city of Toronto named a park after me. As you drive along the lake shore between Park Lawn and Windermere, there is a park on the south side. And my name is up on the park, the big sign, Jean Augustine Park. And for me, it's every day that I pass the park, because I live in the general area, it's a moment for me to say thank you. That here I came from Happy Hill, St. George's, Grenada, to Canada, and that I would have a park, and I came and I worked domestic. And I fell on my behind a million times like everybody else, struggling to raise 2 daughters, struggling to keep myself, to keep myself educated, to be part of community, to have a roof over the head, to face tough economic times, to fall on my behind, to pick myself up, to keep on going. And here I am. There's a park named after. And it's there for all to see. And I'm on the map, Jean Augustine Park. And each time I walk past the park, that's my prayer time. I say thank you. I say thank you not only to Canada, but I say thank you to God.
Well, I want to address the piece. As part of my work, and part of the reason I'm so excited to have this program, is I want to talk to people who are like you. You've had a regular foundation, and yet you have done irregular, spectacular things with your life. And if we review, domestic, we review single mom, we review all of the factors that may have been obstacles for you. Fast forward to where you are, I want to know, how does somebody who's watching this program right now, how do they overcome what they perceive to be real, but surmountable obstacles? Like, how do you get over stuff that you think is actually a barrier? Maybe you didn't notice, but you're Black. Could that have been an obstacle?
Oh yes. Well, there were several times when to be Black, to be a woman, to be a Catholic, to be
missed that piece.
you can list all of these things, but who doesn't have a number of something that could be listed? But it's the attitude that you bring to life. I was reading something recently that's called Wait to Worry. Wait to worry.
Okay.
And I know a lot of us are stressed and we're killed because we worry about something before the thing happens. And so oftentimes at the end of it all, when what we were worrying about most and we lost sleep overnight, then when the next day when or under the light of whatever or the resolution of this, there was no need for us to have spent 2 days worrying about whatever. And so the writer was saying, wait to worry. Don't worry now. Wait to worry. Worry when there is something for you to be,
Really
really worried about. And so I have always had an attitude. I didn't know about this wait to worry, but my attitude have always been be positive about things. There is no perfect life. And I had a friend, we used to have these little autograph books when I was growing up. And I remember someone writing in that autograph book, there is no rose without a thorn.
Perfect.
And I thought that has always stayed with me. That even the prettiest of the rose, the prettiest of flowers, has that thorn. So there is no life, there is no perfection. And so you do the best, you bring a good attitude to life. And another thing that I always in my own life try to do is not to let my angst affect you. Not to not to let the things that my anger or my upsets or my whatever. And so I try to wear a face of positivity, even though inside I am not waiting to worry. I am all thinking about something else. And it's the old story of, one tells about leaving home feeling really very good, and you think the day is going to be great. You get out on the highway, somebody cuts you off, you swear at them, you get annoyed, you get to the office, you kick the door, and for the rest of the day you're in a bad mood, and that bad mood affects everybody else in the office because you spread this germ of negativity and so I've always tried to to hold an air of and also to have hope. And I think it's important to have hope, and it's important to have a belief in something bigger than yourself, and to reach out for something internally that's kind of a little bigger than yourself. And I'm not, as I said earlier, I'm Catholic, but I don't have prayers that speak to give me this and make this good for me or make this bad. What I say is, thy will be done. Do with this life what one wants, to do. So it's kind of having faith, having, hope, and having confidence that things will be okay, no matter how dark things are at this particular point in time.
But you still have to take action to make it come true.
Definitely. You have to work. You have to work at it. You have to take action, and you have to do the best that you possibly can. And I often say, say to others, if you give 100% at all times, you give the best that you can at all times, then at the end of it all, you don't kill yourself. You just say, I did my best today. I did my best around this issue. I did my best around whatever. It didn't work, but I'll go again tomorrow and I'll give my best. And so you can sleep at night and you can smile at other people because you're doing your best.
And you have dignity and you have pride.
Yes.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yes.
I read, I'm not sure if it actually happened or if it was fiction, but they were talking about people who had been shipwrecked on islands back in the time, and that there were 3 different ways that you could approach that experience. Number 1 was to get on your knees and pray that a miracle would happen, and they would find their bones. Number 2 was pray for a miracle to happen and start walking towards where you think good stuff will happen. And the third is to pray that a miracle will happen to whoever or wherever or how, start looking for water, getting food, building shelter, and starting a life in the circumstance you are in. Because if you just sit and wait for things to get better, it doesn't work out. And I love interviewing people who have been on their bum a bunch of times.
Oh, yes.
And
Oh, yes.
you
Oh,
don't
yes.
wait. You don't wait for things to get better.
Yeah.
You have to
Yes.
do things
Yeah.
in order to make life better.
Well, it goes back to the old saying, God helps those who help themselves. And so, again, it's ensuring that you do the best you can. And doing the best you can at all times, and things will happen. Because in the long run, you know, you notice I have a lot of old sayings. There's always a light. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel.
Still current.
or
Still current.
Or the darkest hour is just before the
Dawn.
just before the dawn. You know. And I think if you keep all these things in perspective, you realize that look. And the other, and I picked that up from my grandmother. There, but for the grace of God. And I never got from her the rest of it. You know, but I know the rest of it now. There, but for the grace of God. And a lot of involvement with poverty issues, a lot of involvement with women's issues, or violence against women, or the situation in which people find themselves. And especially when I was chair of Metro Toronto Housing, I saw a lot of there, but for the grace of God.
Touche. Very true.
Because just like this, things can happen in a life that can make that life so different from what is the usual. And I think this is where it comes from, you know, the giving back, the committing, the ensuring that that you do the hand up, you know, to
Not a
people.
handout.
And yes.
Yes.
And so all of those things are important issues. And those are things I think that young people, and we need to be, I'm quoting my grandmother now, and I'm quoting my mother and whatnot. In those days when they quoted those stuff, it was all for me nonsense.
Your daughters are doing the same thing.
I'm not too sure my daughters are doing, they're looking at me and I can see the eyes rolling, you know. And
Someday they will be
but
quoting
someday they'll be quoting some of this.
Yeah.
But again, we have to have some things to live by. We
Yes.
have to have some basis. And if you don't have some basis to be positive and uplifting and see the brighter side of things, you know, you walk around seeing the thing half full, and half full, no half-filled life is a life that's productive.
Well, Your Honor, you have you put out, extended, or introduced is the correct word, the what month is February in Canada?
Oh, February's Black History Month in Canada.
And where'd that come from?
Good question. To track back a bit, when I was in the classroom and when I was, principal of schools, etc., the curriculum is really what you followed. And in the curriculum, there was nothing that spoke about the presence of African Canadians. A little bit somewhere along the line, around the margin or the footnotes, there were some things about the Underground Railroad. But there was always a sense that bad things about black people happened in the South, that slavery was not in Canada, that the wars and whatever happened, that there weren't black engagement and involvement, the building of Canada was not whatever. And the important story of someone like Matthew da Costa, who was the first black man to have set foot in Canada in 1604 on that Champlain expedition, and who got off that ship or boat, whatever it was, and was able to speak to the Mi'kmaq people, the Aboriginal people, and make it easier, and translate it from French to Mi'kmaq, Mi'kmaq to French, and made it easier for the expedition to land. That story is not told.
It isn't told.
And kids in classrooms don't know about Matthew da Costa. They do know now.
Why?
Since Black History Month.
Oh. And how did that come
you
about?
know, and
I'm pulling you. I'm bringing you there.
right? And so I had a whole history of not seeing
Yes.
the presence in the curriculum. And so when the opportunity came, in 1993, after I was elected in 1994, there was some discussion by the Ontario History Society to ask for a proclamation and of Black History Month, because in the United States, Black History Month was started by a man called Carter G. Woodson, who was not educated till he was 17 years and realized that there were black people all over the world who were kings, who were governors, who were doing all kinds of stuff, and he wanted the world to know this. So from this, there was some copying of Black history. And so when the Ontario Black History Society asked for some proclamation by the federal government, and they were told no, that was the impetus for me to say, look, we can't have a decision that we are not going to do this. We want to have legislators say, yes, February is Black History Month, and therefore create all the synergies and the policies that would support Black History Month in Canada. And I can tell you, I'm so proud now when I see Black History Month in corporate boardrooms, Black History Month in the culture, the arts, the media, the churches, the schools, just everywhere. And so I walk around saying that motion that I put in the House, and it was a simple motion because I wanted unanimous consent. The motion said that blacks were part of the building of Canada and the development of Canada and the settlement of Canada, that they were contributors to Canada, and that lastly, that the black community in Canada is a diverse community. We're Africans, we're Caribbeans, we're generations and whatever. And so one could not deny any of those issues. And so I was really humbled and pleased that I had full support of the Parliament of Canada to get that motion passed.
And Black History Month.
Black History Month is here.
Fantastic. And that's how you get a park. That's how you get a park with your name on it.
Well, I'm not too sure. I think the park came about as a result of the work that I did as a member of Parliament for Etobicoke Lakeshore, the vibrancy of that neighborhood in Etobicoke Lakeshore that I participated and supported and found funding for, etc., etc. And I think it was a way of the community saying that they would like to not forget the fact that I made some things happen there.
Well, you will be long, long remembered. Your Honor, I want to thank you so much for coming today and sharing your story and your struggles with me and with everyone today, because you are an inspiration. And, you know, people will say it's just one vote, or it's what can one person do? One person can change the nation. And you are one of them, and I'm honored to know you. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much for the invitation to share my story, but there are so many stories out there, and I think it's a combination of all of our stories and the push forward that does make for the kind of society and the kind of country in which we all want to live and raise our children. So thank you for the opportunity to share.
My pleasure. Well, everyone, another chapter in Beautiful Lives is about to close. And have you noticed the pattern in the amazing people I am introducing to you? Men and women who have literally changed the face of Canada, and in some cases changed the face of the world, with unique talents, with unique experiences, not always fantastic experiences. In fact, some horrific tragedies have motivated and inspired people to go out and make their community, make their world a bigger, better, more fantastic place. You will have also noticed, again today, that there are some core beliefs that the people who are making a difference actually embrace. And a couple of them are, number one, choosing to find the good. It is such an important part of making the world a better place, is right here, right now, me choosing to be happy in spite of how I feel, in spite of what miserable things might be going on in my life. The people who are making a difference are actually working on their attitudes and, you know, tinkering with what they choose to see. Doesn't mean they're denying that the bad stuff is going on, but they're just seeing the silver lining. And the other thing that I have noticed as a theme is that there's no sitting around and just wishing things were better and that everybody else has it so much easier. It is getting up and doing what needs to be done in order to make it better. And it might be singly and going fast, and it might be as a community and going far. But it's those two things, taking action, doing what needs to be done, and changing the view when you look out. So that's my mission for me. I want to be remembered as that woman at the end of my legacy, but it's also the challenge to you. Go out, do something bigger, better, more, and believe it, you can. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me again today. We'll see you next time. Be safe. Bye. Thank you.
Beautiful thoughts, beautiful mind, beautiful space in a beautiful time, beautiful soul, beautiful smile, grateful to be living our beautiful life. Experience Beautiful Lives with Liz McCallum. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So grateful, so thankful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So grateful, so thankful. Beautiful, beautiful life. Beautiful you. Beautiful me. Giving to another comes naturally. Beautiful world, it's time to shine. Coming together for our beautiful life. Beautiful, beautiful. Hi, I'm Liberty Silver, and I'm here with Liz McCallum, your host for Beautiful Lives. Beautiful lives, beautiful lives, so beautiful. Beautiful lives. Oh, why oh, oh, yeah. How come you don't fight your battle on the battlefield? Why you fighting in your neighborhood, Lord? Give me the green camouflage for my peace march. Yeah, yeah. Green camouflage, we'll be unarmed. Hey. Some just fighting in big cities, taking out the innocent and the guilty. They no longer need to blend into the trees. They're hiding in the street, oh my gosh. Trying to desensitize me on the TV with their vision of brutality. But trying to shallow my conscience with defensive statements. Oh, no, camouflage, say no, camouflage, say no, no camouflage. No camouflage, say no camouflage, no camouflage, no camouflage. Give me the green camouflage for my peace march. Oi. Green camouflage, we'll be unarmed. How you mean illegal? Give me the green camouflage for my peace march. We're a peaceful people. Green camouflage, we'll be unarmed. Hey. Camouflage in a fashion, they must have thought the war was over for America. Oh, I tell them they don't need the green no more. Searching for the enemy door to door. I will make camouflage in Jamaica, make me feel like a soldier in your army. In Barbados, most peaceful people I know still can open embargo. No camouflage, say no camouflage, say no camouflage. No camouflage, no camouflage, say no camouflage. No camouflage, wow. Give me the green camouflage for my peace march. skirt, no shoe, no sock, no bag, no rag. Give me the green. Camo, camo, camo. Give me the green. Hey. Give me the green. How come? Give me the green. You don't fight your battle on the battlefield. Soldier. Give me the green. Hey. Give me the green. Camo, camo, camo. Give me the green. No camo, no camo, no camo. No camo plan. Hey. Give me the green. Soldier. Give me the green. Oh well. Give me the green. Camo, camo, camo. Give me the green.
Hi, my name is Liz McCallum, and I am the founder of Big Beautiful Wellness. And I want to welcome you. I am so glad you have found us today. I want to introduce you a little bit to who we are and give you a little peek into what you can expect if you get associated with Big Beautiful Wellness. First of all, we are a community of positive, active, plus-size women who are no longer waiting to be skinny to live. You will find us everywhere. We are models and lawyers and yoga instructors. We are doctors and corporate trainers. We're everywhere. We're plus size and we're in the world. But it turns out that a whole lot of plus size women are not participating in everything that life has to offer. We are not going to family reunions. We are not having the kind of intimate relationships with our partners that we may have wanted. We are sort of limiting ourselves because of how we either perceive ourselves or how we think people are perceiving us. Well, that's done. And if you become a part of Big Beautiful Wellness, if you join our community on Facebook, if you sign up and register at bigbeautifulwellness.com, you will discover that women across Canada, across the States, and all over the globe are joining gyms that are having programs specifically targeting plus-size women. That we are in communities walking and singing and dancing and just participating in everything that life has to offer. Again, we are not waiting to be thin. We are not waiting to be skinny. We are not waiting anymore to fit into those clothes that are at the end of the rack in your cupboard to go out and live. We're living today because part of Big Beautiful Wellness is that we appreciate that you don't live forever, and we don't want to waste a minute. We do not want to waste a second waiting for the good times to come. So I encourage you to please register at bigbeautifulwellness.com. I encourage you to get really active on our Facebook page at facebook.com/bbwellness. And let's live, women. Let's have these big, beautiful lives. Thank you. Looking forward to meeting you.
passing the buck, no time to win, it's time to lose. Lady luck is just for fools. Don't wanna get rich, being imposing my will. Time to lead, it's time to follow. Let go of all my ego. Life's full of thrills, but it comes with a cost. Gotta make some dollar bills if I'm gonna be a boss. Lay my cards on the table to win the game, just like the Caesar. The sun and the rain seem to know. Yes, it's time for some change read between the lines and notes. I get my thrill when I do it well for a good cause. I wanna be someone to see the writing on the wall. Equality, right up my alley. There's a deadlock, causing a roadblock. Who's gonna level the field? Life's full of thrills, and they come with a cost. Gotta make some dollar bills if I'm gonna be a boss. Lay my cards on the table to win the game, just like the seasons. The sun and the rain seem to know. Yes, it's time for some change in my life, like weather turn rain to sunshine. Yes, it's time for some change in my life, like weather turn rain to sunshine. Oh, yeah, changing my life, and it's right on time. I guess it's time for some change in my life. Oh, sunshine. Oh, yeah. Hey, here comes sunshine. Here comes rain in my life. 'Cause it's time for some change. Here comes sunshine. Like weather turn rain to sunshine. Oh yeah, I guess I'll change. Well, she bought a one-way ticket to see how far she could take it on a getaway. She thought she could leave her past behind in search of a better life. Far away, a faded picture in her memory came alive in her fantasy, looking for heaven. Words cannot define, looking for heaven. It's all in her mind, looking for heaven. In time she realized you gotta ask yourself, where's the best place to start? Funny how things turn out, never seem to work out as we imagine they might happen. She searched high, she searched love in every form and fashion you could imagine. Ooh, I should have known much better, but I was caught up in the rapture, looking for heaven. Oh, words cannot define, looking for heaven. It was all in her mind, looking for heaven. Ooh, in time she realized looking for heaven. Words cannot define. Looking for heaven. Tell me, it's all best place to start. Looking for heaven. Now. Times you realize, yeah. You gotta ask yourself, where's the best place to start? To start looking for heaven, looking. Words cannot define. Words cannot define. What's all in your mind? No. Looking. In times you realize everywhere she searched out, you gotta search love. Where's the best place to start? Yeah. All right.
Hi, my name is Liz McCallum, and I am the founder of Big Beautiful Wellness. And I want to welcome you. I am so glad you have found us today. I want to introduce you a little bit to who we are and give you a little peek into what you can expect if you get associated with Big Beautiful Wellness. First of all, we are a community of positive, active, plus-size women who are no longer waiting to be skinny to live. You will find us everywhere. We are models and lawyers and yoga instructors. We are doctors and corporate trainers. We're everywhere. We're plus-size and we're in the world. But it turns out that a whole lot of plus-size women are not participating in everything that life has to offer. We are not going to family reunions. We are not having the kind of intimate relationships with our partners that we may have wanted. We are sort of limiting ourselves because of how we either perceive ourselves or how we think people are perceiving us. Well, that's done. And if you become a part of Big Beautiful Wellness, if you join our community on Facebook, if you sign up and register at bigbeautifulwellness.com, you will discover that women across Canada, across the States, and all over the globe are joining gyms that are having programs specifically targeting plus-size women. We are in communities walking and singing and dancing and just participating in everything that life has to offer. Again, we are not waiting to be thin. We are not waiting to be skinny. We are not waiting anymore to fit into those clothes that are at the end of the rack in your cupboard to go out and live. We're living today because part of Big Beautiful Wellness is that we appreciate that you don't live forever, and we don't want to waste a minute. We do not want to waste a second waiting for the good times to come. So I encourage you to please register at bigbeautifulwellness.com. I encourage you to get really active on our Facebook page at facebook.com/bbwellness. And let's live, women. Let's have these big, beautiful lives. Thank you. Looking forward to meeting you.